of Secondary Education, and I'm really excited to join Cassie Mount, the principal at Dare Early College, for this parent information session this evening. Just a few logistical things for a virtual meeting before we get started. Parents, if you would, because we are recording, if you will just turn your cameras off, and if you'll mute yourself as well. What normally happens during a meeting like this is if you have questions, if you'll drop those in the chat, we'll monitor those and stop periodically throughout the presentation to answer or respond to any of those questions. And we'll also have a Q&A session at the end. So again, if you'll just turn your camera off and turn your microphone off, and again, so that you can listen and attend to what we're doing. And again, we are recording, and then we'll periodically answer questions. So Ms. Mount, I think we're good.
Awesome.
All right. So again, I'm Denise Fallon. I'm the Director of Secondary Ed in Dare County. And that's Cassie Mount, a principal at Dare Early College. So I'm going to kick things off this evening to talk a little bit about and Ms. Mount's going to talk specifically about Dare Early College. So with that being said, Ms. Mount, let's key up our video.
All right.
At Dare Early College, we are the Mariners. It is more than a symbol. It is a reflection of who we are and what we aspire to be. A Mariner doesn't wait for the path to appear. They chart their own course, guided by curiosity, courage, and purpose. At Dare Early College, our students learn to navigate challenges with resilience and pursue new horizons both academically and personally. Just like mariners at sea, they rely on skill, determination, and collaboration to journey forward. Here, you won't just follow a map, you'll learn how to create one. You'll explore new opportunities, earn college credit, and discover what's possible when you take ownership of your journey. If you're ready to set sail toward your future, apply to the Dare Early College.
We can go to the next. Oh, somehow we've gone to the end of this presentation, folks. One moment.
No worries.
Okay. I'm going to share again. Here we go. Here's our recruitment timeline, Ms. Fallon.
So, again, you can also find this information on our Dare Early College website, but you can see we've laid out our plans for the spring for recruitment. There is an open house. Ms. Mount's going to talk a little bit more about that on February 4th from 5 to 7 when you can visit the campus and learn a little bit more about the Mariners. The application window will open February 2nd and close March 2nd. We do interview all candidates. All students who interview will be notified of whether they are invited to attend. They may be on a wait list or they may be not accepted. And then students have all that time and don't have to make a final commitment to attend Dare Early College until April 16th. It is a one-year commitment for ninth grade. And at the end of every year, we do reach out to students to ask them if they want to continue their enrollment or would they wish to return to their home school. So again, we're going to hit on some of these things later in the presentation, but just wanted to start with that to let you know that through this application period, we're really looking for students who think that the early college experience will be right for them as far as their high school experience, and that those students are a good fit for the early college. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the early college model. Um, so what is an early college? There are early colleges all over the country, but we have a lot in North Carolina because we do have legislation from our General Assembly that really guides that practice across the state. Many counties have an early college in North Carolina, so we're really excited to now have one in Dare County. But some districts have more than one. I think Guilford County has 10. So some of them are specialized early colleges by design. There is one on NC State's campus that's designed just for students who want to study engineering. There are early colleges designed just for students who want to enter the medical field. But when we wrote the application for Dare County, we wanted a more generalized experience for students, one that really aligned with the needs of our community. And so you'll see that throughout our presentation this evening. So as Ms. Mount goes to the next slide, an early college is a public high school. It is not a private school. It is not an extension of another high school. It is its own public high school. It is a blend of high school and college courses that start in 9th grade. So what you generally see is in 9th and 10th grade, students primarily are enrolled in high school courses with high school teachers that are assigned to Dare Early College. And then you start to sprinkle in a few college courses that are taught through College of the Albemarle, our higher ed partner. And by the 11th grade, in an early college, students are typically enrolled in college courses full time. How are we able to do that? Because some of the high school courses required for graduation, we are able to use college courses to meet that standard. So some of our English courses, students will actually get credit at the college level. It will count for high school credit. Some of our social studies courses, science courses, and so forth. It does help students earn an associate degree or a career certification while in high school. And I think that's one of the biggest differences between an early college and what you see in a traditional high school is the focus on academics and really degree or credential achievement for all students, not just a select group who are high performing, but really for all students. And that's achieved through what I call personalized planning with some of our students. So as we go to the next slide, I'm going to talk a little bit about the target demographic and kind of explain where that comes from. So research on early colleges started, years ago. First I ever heard of an early college was in 2008. And so I started working in an early college in 2012. And they were around before then. But they really, this educational model really emerged as a result and a response to some pretty intense research on university campuses. And so as they started to look at who are the kids that graduate from high school and go off to college, so they looked around those universities. Are there patterns? Are there trends? Are there reasons why students don't go to university or don't go to community college or don't seek opportunities after high school? And if there are reasons or groups of students who don't take advantage of those opportunities, the question becomes why? And what can we do in high school as part of their high school experience to mitigate those impacts? Again, to make a real difference in the lives of those students. So that's where our target demographic emerges. How do we address the needs of these specific students with this educational model? So the first circle there at the top is the first generation college students. Research shows that if your parents didn't take advantage of higher ed after high school, you probably won't either. And so the early college model is really designed for first generation college students, those students that want something different out of high school. They know they need those supports. You know, it's hard for a parent to talk to a kid about college if they didn't go to college. I mean, it was hard for me to have those conversations with my children. I have four, especially the first one, and I went to college, so I know, that work in that area to inform students and educate them on opportunities is important, but it's especially important for those first generation college students. That is defined by people who don't go on to a 4-year university. Okay. So our second group is our historically underrepresented populations, and those might be some of our minority students. Typically, those students, research showed, did not attend 4-year universities for a variety of reasons. You can see down the little asterisk in the bottom, some of those historically underrepresented populations might be someone who English is their second language. It might be someone who doesn't think they can afford to pay to go to college. So it's not even part of their outlook on their future. And so, again, it makes sense to us, especially on the socioeconomically disadvantaged groups, that they didn't plan to go to college and high school because they knew that they couldn't afford it. So the early college model is really a way to sort of jumpstart that college experience to prepare those students for what comes next. Our third group is what we call at-risk students. And this is a great big category, and it's, so broadly defined. So what would make a student at risk? Well, they may have a medical condition where attendance becomes an issue as a high school student. They may experience some sort of trauma, whether it's in their own interactions with the world or as a result of something else. Some things I've seen is that the death of a parent in middle school really has an impact on students. Other things that put students at risk might be learning disabilities, medical issues that affect learning. And so those students are at risk, really, of not graduating from high school at all, but certainly not taking advantage of opportunities beyond high school. So those are our first three groups in this demographic. And again, it's just by design. How can we build a school that thinks about all those things with intention so that the model itself will build those students up and create an environment where they too can experience success, not only in high school, but for what comes after high school graduation. And that last group, and to me, this group is really the group that I guess it puts the icing on the cake. And I think every kid might fall into one of these groups at any given time. But it's those students who seek a challenge, who are ready for something more and something different out of high school. We have students right now at Dare Early College. I think every freshman is enrolled in at least one college course this spring, but some of them were ready for another one. So we have students already sitting in college classes as ninth graders because they were ready for that challenge. One thing I will share with you as we look at this demographic, you don't have to fit the demographic to attend. Again, it just helps you understand why in the world would they need this different type of school? Why couldn't we address these needs in the traditional high school? And research shows that it just wasn't happening in the traditional setting. So they had to do something else. And the early college is what emerged from that research. So I'm going to turn it over to Cassie Mount. Again, I encourage you, if you think of questions, you can drop them in the chat or just make a note yourself and we'll answer any questions that you have. And Cassie, we'll turn it over to you, but I might jump in every now and then
Please do.
to respond.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I'm Cassie Mount, principal of Dare Early College. Last year when these meetings were held, parents were imagining what this school would be like, and we all jumped in with that same thought, and then over the past few months have really start to solidify the mission and vision of our school. Back in October, we went to the Board of Education and proposed a mascot that's really set a theme for our school. And so we are the Dare Early College Mariners. And our mission is to empower students to chart new courses, discover their passions, thrive in learning, and lead with purpose and courage. Now, that is a mouthful, but I want to, over the next few slides of the presentation, um, break it into chunks really and describe how each part is really purposeful to what we strive to do at Dare Early College. Our main goal is to empower students, to give them power to own their story and their journey. Just like Ms. Fallon explained, these are the demographics that we are designed to serve, and we take that very seriously. We are all the time brainstorming ways that we can support students from every walk of life and build them up. We want to empower students to chart new courses. Now, from a Mariner aspect, we want to empower our students to take risks, to try new things, but also this is a play on words because we do quite literally help students create a 4 or 5 year chart of the courses that they're going to take through their time with us to navigate through high school and college for the associate's degree or the career certifications. So we support students in choosing a college pathway. When students come to us, they describe the career that they would like to have eventually. And we help them develop, based on that, a plan over 4 years' time that maps out the specific courses they would need to take in both high school and at COA for every semester so that there's a clear route to helping them achieve their dream. We start early with students taking the first college course in the 9th grade. And because of the design of an early college, there are limited rules for COA course enrollment. So whereas students attending a traditional high school would be permitted into college courses starting in 11th grade, at the early college environment, our students can begin in the 9th grade and really start tracking toward their goals and taking a little more time to do that. Oh, Ms. Fallon, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I'm going to address a question that someone had in the chat. So this is our first group of students who have been in the dual immersion program since elementary school. We have our first group of 8th graders who we're getting ready to test at the end of their 8th grade year this spring. So the question is there a plan for what happens next with those students? And the answer is absolutely. What we look at when we are designing these plans for students is not just the piece you're specifically talking to, the language acquisition and what comes next, but we really look at all those courses they took in middle school and we plan what comes next. So for example, if a student is currently enrolled in Math 1, they're going to start right out with Math 2 and then Math 3. If a student is currently in 9th grade English, we're going to go straight to English 2. And then, start their journey that way. As far as the dual immersion goes, I know that there's a potential there to go ahead and get credit for Spanish 1 and 2. That's still on the table. It's a regular high school. It's no different as far as high school credits than any other high school in North Carolina, and certainly in Dare County. But the other piece to that is students can also earn some of those graduation credentials relating to foreign language. Again, that part of the Dare Early College, it is a Dare Early College high school. So the high school part doesn't go away just because it's a different place. So anything that would be in place at your traditional high school as far as the foreign language and the skill acquisition with dual immersion is still going to be in place with Dare Early College. And that's a great question. I hope that answered the question.
Mm-hmm. Our next goal at Dare Early College is to empower students to discover their passions. So we have some students who know exactly what they want to do after high school or even after college. We have some students who are still figuring that out. And so we're intentional about helping students decide the pathway that's good for them. Whether a student wants to enroll in a 4-year university after graduating with an associate's degree, whether they want to enlist in the military, or whether they want to go directly into the workforce, there are supports at Dare Early College and pathways that can support each of these situations and students' plans. Specifically for the military, an individual who goes into the military with an associate's degree will receive more money than someone who doesn't. And so this is a really great opportunity for students to get a jump start on whatever it is that they want to do.
And so one of the things that was important when we wrote our application to the state that was pretty extensive is that we had opportunities as far as coursework with College of the Albemarle, but opportunities for all types of students with all sorts of dreams beyond high school. And so we really also wanted it to align with the needs of our community. And one of the myths you hear about early college is not every kid wants to go off to college. We know that. And so they may want to join the military. They might want to seek employment after graduation, but there are opportunities for them to earn some pretty significant credentials as part of their resume from a college. And that's going to earn them more pay even in the workforce before they graduate from high school. I shared the story. I had a student that graduated with a welding credential, and he was a young man. He got a lot of trouble in high school, even at the early college. But he was the only guy on his crew when he graduated with a welding certificate. He was the only guy who had college credit, so he became the boss, and I couldn't believe it. But it's a great opportunity for any kind of student that will accept that challenge and they have a dream of what they want to do, and we just help to make that dream a reality so that they can be the best version of themselves when they graduate from high school.
Absolutely. This is a list of the curriculum options available through COA: Associates in Arts, Associate in Science. Associate in Arts is pretty, it's your general education courses, but then the Associates in Science is more geared to students who would desire to go into a field that would require more math and science courses. Associate in Engineering, Associate in Fine Arts, including Visual Arts, Associate in Applied Science, Medical Science, and then there are also the Welding, HVAC, and Electrical career certifications.
And so just to sort of give you a summary of this, for all of our folks out there, your associate degree is basically your first 2 years of college. And it is free of charge. All textbooks are covered, course enrollment, all of that associated with that. So you may want to be a lawyer. That would be your associate in arts. Do your first 2 years, which is going to be math, English, science, and social studies that everybody has to have. And then when you go off to your 4-year university, you're going to get specific courses related to that interest in a law degree. But all of these, especially the associate in arts and science, are really general education associate degrees that will allow you to really go into any field after high school graduation, if you decide to go to the 4-year school. And then some of the other ones are really specific to the workforce.
We also empower students to thrive in learning. Oh, let's take this question, Ms. Fallon. Can you start in one pathway and then change to another?
The answer is yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
So one of the things that's really important about the Dare Early College is it really provides opportunities strategically in a class for students to explore career pathways,
Mm-hmm.
explore universities. And it's not incidental. It's a lesson that's planned, and this is what we're going to do. I share the story. I'm a storyteller a little bit, and one of the things our 10th graders are going to do is job shadowing. And we would ask 8th graders, what do you want to be when you grow up? And we kind of go through phases. We get a lot of engineers. In this particular cycle, we had a lot of vets. I want to be a veterinarian. So we had a little girl who job shadowed a veterinarian her 10th grade year, and she came back and she said, I don't want to be a veterinarian. And I was like, well, did something happen at job shadowing? She said, yes, Miss Fallon, I wasn't there 20 minutes and a dog died. And I was like, well, honey, that kind of happens, with a vet. And she says, I can't do that. And that's fine. So all we do, and Miss Mount, one of her favorite words is we pivot. And that's what you do. And we have a plan for that too. We stop, we assess the situation. And look, we do that whether it's a college course that they don't like, it may be a high school course where they weren't successful. We're going to stop, we're going to regroup, and we're going to rework the plan. Everybody's plan is personalized. Everybody's journey is different. So we really want to make sure it aligns with what the kid ends up wanting to do. And the question is, how are we going to get you there? And one of the things I would always say is I want students to graduate with more than a high school diploma. I want something on that resume that sets you apart from everybody else that graduates from high school the same year you do. So what's your thing going to be? Are you going to have an associate degree? Are you going to have an internship? Are you going to have a welding certificate? I mean, what is it you're going to have? Now, let's say that you get that HVAC certification and you start working in that field and you don't like it. It's not a lifetime commitment, but you have something. You've started. The same young man I told you about a few minutes ago that graduated with a welding certificate and became somebody's boss decided he was going to go back to school. He studied boat building in Wilmington, and now he builds boats on the side. Builds about 5 or 6 boats a year just for fun, and has got a thriving welding business. So again, lots of opportunities. Some students will, like, for example, be working on the associate in science, and they decide, I think I really want to be a nurse. Okay, well, then we might jump over and include and blend in some of the medical science stuff for that kid. Because to get into nursing school, they've got a checklist, and we want to make sure that kid's done a lot of stuff on that checklist before they graduate from high school. So again, lots of blending, lots of personalization to make sure it meets the need of that student. So we'll continue, Ms. Mount. I'm going to read the questions and see if we can get.
Yep,
So
we do have another question. I'm understanding that during the student presentations, there was a student who's interested in attending early college, but noticed on this list that there wasn't anything aligned with a degree in psychology. So, ma'am, the second part of your question is absolutely correct. Any of these, an associate's degree is really completing the first 2 years of a college degree, which are general courses that many people would take. So in your daughter's situation, what would happen is she would get an associate's in arts, Miss Fallon, for psychology. And
Well, maybe I need more information. It may be that would be a good fit if you want to study psychology. If you want to be a psychologist, which is a doctor, I would recommend the associate in science. So it's really granular down to what is it you want to do. And we're going to put you in that right course. So the associate in science is a lot of those high-level math and science courses that instead of taking those at the 4-year university, you're going to go ahead and take those at College of the Albemarle. And again, that's those first 2 years that everybody needs when they go off to college.
Yeah. And then
Great
when
question.
she goes to the bigger university, she would take the specialized classes that are unique to exactly what it is that she wants to do. So we empower students to thrive in learning. There's a theory that in order for a student to learn, we need to teach to what's called the proximal zone of development. And what that means is when you want a child to learn anything, you find out where they are and you teach just above it, and you support them um, in making that jump. So we use that, and we have all honors level courses. We push our students to be able to work through those, and then we support them all the way through. And then another way that we're pushing our students is that they all take at least one college course in the spring of their ninth grade year. We'll share more about that in a little bit. But when we push these students to all take honors level courses or to take a college course, we're not leaving them out to dry. We provide many supports that empower them to be successful, and we're there every step of the way. One of those is office hours, which, depending on what school you're in, is called intervention time, tomahawk time, fly time. But what it is in a 30-minute chunk of time during the school day when students can be assigned by a teacher or either choose to go to a teacher to receive support in their classes. We offer a weekly seminar course on Fridays, a 30-minute session where we walk students through how to be a college student. So far in our seminar course, we have walked with every student as they've applied to become a student at COA. Each of them sent a practice email through their COA account and had it critiqued to know how to write a professional email like they would need to do to a college professor. And then also, as they're just starting their first college course, when students completed their first discussion board, we were there, our whole faculty in the room, to rotate and provide support and help them know how to navigate that learning platform for college. And as the years go on, we'll talk to them about how we apply to four-year universities, how we apply for financial aid, all of those things. Another support that's pretty organic to an early college is the small environment. Right now, we have 56 students, and for the next school year, we're looking to add between 50 and 60. In our school's application, we've made it so that we will only ever have a maximum of 350 students at this school when we're fully built out. And so, because of that small environment, it really does empower us as staff to provide individualized supports for students. We're there, we know what's going on, and it makes it easy for them to be able to come to us and ask for help as well. And then, along with all of these supports that we're offering, there are options available at the college level. Every Dear Early College student is a COA student. And so whatever would be available to those students are available to ours as well. Let's go ahead and answer some of the questions that I'm seeing here.
I think we can wait a little bit
Okay.
longer on that, if that's okay, Cassie. I'm gonna try to
Absolutely.
answer them tied to a slide, if that's okay.
I got you. That's
All
perfect.
right, all right, thank you.
Yep. Our next section is leading with purpose and courage. At Dare Early College, our goal is that every student leads with more than a high school diploma and absolutely with leadership qualities. So we're very intentional about finding ways that we can empower students, we can put opportunities upon them, and then also that we can help them find areas where they get to step up to the plate and really lead in our school community, in COA's community, and in the larger community. So far, We have started with a few clubs and organizations. We do have a student government association. Um, when we asked students if they'd like to be a part of this, half of the student body showed up. And so we don't have a president or a vice president, we have an executive board. Always looking for ways to plug as many students into leadership opportunities as possible. We have a math club that is gearing up for their second math competition. Science Olympiad. This is a very strong club down in Hatteras. And so our 11 students who come every day from Hatteras let us know that this was an awesome opportunity. And so our Science Olympiad team will be competing in February at ECU. And then the yearbook club, we're going to have a true yearbook. It's going to be small, but it's going to be awesome. And as we grow, add more teachers to our staff, add more students with diverse interests, we're always looking for ways to grow this list. I'm not beyond looking for community volunteers to help us. We have a lot of interest in art, and although students would take art classes at COA, there's always potential for us to have an art club and opportunities for students to mingle and practice their skill. Also, Outer Banks Youth Orchestra has reached out and they are willing to partner with us to provide some opportunities through a club setting for students to be able to play their instruments. COA has been amazing in partnering with us and reaching out whenever they need ambassadors for certain events. Our students have loved being a part of that, and we always collaborate with our career development coordinator, Ms. Bassnight, who has opportunities for us to serve in the community and among other middle schools throughout our own district. So at this time, we're going to talk about some of the logistical things, schedules, partnership with COA, and what that looks like. Our partnership with COA gives us a lot of flexibility in scheduling courses. They can be either face-to-face or online college courses. Both are available, and depending on each individual student's needs, we can schedule them for either. The cost of tuition, textbooks, access codes needed for a college course are all covered. So again, this is a student being able to achieve 2 years of college for free with support. It's quite an opportunity.
So I'll speak a little bit about early college versus what's called dual enrollment that you see in a traditional high school. So we do have, state of North Carolina has, again, legislation I mentioned earlier that all high school students in North Carolina have an opportunity to dual enroll and take college courses while they're in high school. However, the rules are different for early colleges. And so again, you've got a broader access. They can enroll earlier in 9th grade. Your costs are covered for those courses. With dual enrollment, the biggest difference is that students, for the most part, cannot start until they get in grade 11. And so if they're going to complete a whole degree, it's really hard to do that in 2 years when you're also taking traditional high school courses. One of the biggest differences, I'd say, is that the goal of the early college is that it's not if you're going to take college courses, it's when. And what supports do we need to get you there? And the other piece to that is our goal is that all of our students have college credit, not just a select few. And that we've really planned out with purpose and intention a plan that matches student interest so that they can complete that full degree and get that maximum benefit from that opportunity. One of the things I want to mention, and I don't know if we have it on the slide, but when students in Dare County go to high school, those high schools operate on a 4x4 schedule, including Dare Early College. And what that means is students take 4 courses in the fall, those end, you take exams, then you start over in January and you take 4 more courses before the end of the school year. So it's not like middle school where you take the same classes the whole time. And I say that because, there may be an opportunity where, there's a course you love, but you're not in that course in the fall if you're in a traditional high school. And you're going to see the same thing at the early college. We are looking again, we do not have a lot of the same elective options that you see in a traditional high school. We don't have a carpentry shop, but at COA, they have HVAC and electrical, so they can learn those skills. They have welding where they can learn some specific skills. So with that being said, we don't have an art teacher that's a high school teacher. We don't have a health science teacher that's a high school teacher. Students would access that coursework and those opportunities through College of the Albemarle. And it's very interesting because the building that we're sharing right now actually has an art studio upstairs. And so you see our artists, if you will, they come and go. There's an art studio and a display area, if you will, upstairs as well. So again, those opportunities are there. They just look very different than what you see in the traditional high school. I know in the early college where I was principal, Miss Mount, we did have an art club. It was sponsored by a teacher. She was not an artist. But what we had people coming in from the outside that would work with our students, especially 9th and 10th graders, before they got to the point where they were taking some of those fun, if I'm going to use that word because I'm not an artist, but they were doing some of that hands-on stuff. So lots of opportunities there. And again, it's just very different. And we want to match that to student interest. One of the questions is the chat, are kids allowed to do drama class at Manteo High School? That's a great question. I'm going to talk a little bit here. Students are able to go back to their home school and participate in athletics. They're also able to go back to their home school and participate in band, take the band class, do marching band. Students are also able to go back to their home school and participate in drama productions. They are not able to go back and be in the theater class, but the theater class is not the group that does the drama production. So yes, they can go back after school and be in every play that their home school has. That is certainly allowed. And we're looking to expand those opportunities as much as we can as well. Great questions.
Absolutely. I want to mention one thing about the difference that pops up between early college or traditional dual enrollment. We have a parent who has given me this feedback, and I feel that it's important to share with you all. Although taking college courses beginning in 9th grade may be challenging for students, one of the advantages to the early college setting is that all students are embarking on that journey together. So it's a shared responsibility. It's a productive struggle where they're all literally in the same boat, working through those things together and can lean on one another through that process rather than shouldering the challenge or the rigor alone.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes. Some more facts about Dare Early College. We're located in Manteo on COA's campus. Right now, I always say we are camping out in some classrooms, a section of rooms that COA has been generous enough to share with us. Our own building is being constructed right now, and we are set to be able to transition into that new building over winter break of next school year. So our first semester of the 26-27 school year will be in COA's building. Transportation is provided. The way that this works is for students who are zoned for Manteo High or First Flight High. Buses pick them up from home and take them to Manny over first flight, where they hop on a transit bus and then come over to us. For Hatteras, we utilize community stops and have a fantastic bus driver who picks up our students every day and takes them back at the end of the school day. As I mentioned before, we are a smaller school with up to 75 students per grade level. Eventually, once we've grown to full capacity, we'll have up to 350 students. 8th grade students apply to attend. So a student cannot decide that they want to join Dare Early College in the 10th, 11th, or 12th grade. It has to happen in the transition from 8th to 9th grade. However, students may decide to transfer back to their home school at the end of any school year if they decide that we are not a great fit for them. We do insist that students stay with us for at least the full year or a whole year at a time to be able to really get a sense of the early college experience and understand what it's like so that they can make an informed decision. We are our own school, so we will host our own prom eventually. We've already been hosting our own dance and then our own graduation. Students wouldn't go to Manual High School or First Flight or Cape Hatteras for their graduation. We'll have our own. Athletic and theater participation takes place at the home school. We have wonderful relationships with athletic directors and principals of the other traditional high schools and stay abreast of when practices take place, when sporting events take place. We provide transportation to the school so that they can leave with their team to go to away games. I see a question, are students allowed to join in their home high school's dances? Great question. So the way that this works is if a student is participating in a athletic program or the theater for that season, fall, winter, or spring, then they can absolutely attend without a guest form. Our other students are allowed to be invited as guests to dances for the other high schools. We do not have a fine arts program per se. I am really looking forward to a partnership with Outer Banks Youth Orchestra, and also spoken with some students about the possibility of starting a music club so they can get together and play music together as musicians. Students do have the opportunity to go back to their home school for marching band. When it's possible, we can adjust students' schedules so that they could participate in a band class. I don't want to make a promise about that, but I'm always willing to look at the possibility. And then in addition with these opportunities, COA extends their after school or extracurricular activities to our students as well. Our students are COA students, and so they have the opportunity to join their student government or any clubs that is offered by COA. Our school hours are from 8:10 to 3 o'clock. We have a morning meeting from 8:10 to 8:40, and during that time, we have some students who arrive right at 8:10. Our last bus arrives at 8:33, and so that time is flexible for students to be able to receive support from teachers, for them to build relationships or work on projects and collaborate. Our first class starts at 8:40. The reasoning for that, it's a little later than other schools, is so that students can be dropped off at their schools and then come to that transit bus to be to us for a first class at 8:40. Our school day ends at 3 o'clock. And from there, the buses run back to the students' home schools where they get on their buses to go home. So our students arrive just in time to be able to join the other students who are being dismissed from their traditional high schools. On Fridays, we have an early release of 12:40. That's every Friday. The reason for that is because we understand that this is a rigorous curriculum, this is a rigorous environment, and so we provide that little bit of a buffer time for students to take advantage of and be able to catch up on assignments. As we grow, I anticipate students being able to stay and receive some support from teachers in those afternoons if needed. During this first year, our staff has really taken advantage of the afternoon time from 12:40 to 3 to be able to grow together to come up with procedures that support our students and their individual needs. It's been a huge help in our school establishing itself. Excuse me. And then every Monday through Thursday, we do have our office hours schedule built into the school day, 30 minutes of time for students to receive support in their classes, and then a seminar time, 30 minutes on Friday, built into our schedule.
So
Um,
one of the things I want to talk about just for a minute,
Mhm.
so, a lot of again, let me remind everybody, it is a high school. And so, students are still going to take driver's education. They're still going to get their driver's license. Can they drive to school? Yes, they can. Um, it's just a very different high school experience, but a lot of that stuff that high school kids do, they're still going to do at the early college. It's just going to be, a different high school setting. So I want to make sure I mention driver's ed because that's really important.
Absolutely. We're connected with North Carolina Driving School. And so far this school year, we've offered two online driving courses that take place in the evenings. I saw a question about lunches.
Mhm.
Students are welcome to bring their own lunches, but at right now in our current situation, as we're camping at COA, we have an individual who very graciously goes to Manual Elementary School, and they pack hot lunches for our students. And so lunches are delivered every day. When we are in our own building, we'll have a full cafeteria with a commercial kitchen. And so we'll be providing lunches just like any other school would.
Yeah, and again, they do breakfast as well, and those are also free of charge, just like other schools in Dare County.
Absolutely. So the application process, as I mentioned, the way of entry to Dare Early College is in the transition from 8th to ninth grade, and students apply. For our timeline, the application window is February 2nd to March 2nd. I apologize, this is Mania Middle. It's for all schools. So our application will be posted on the Dare Early College and Dare County Schools website on Monday, and it'll also be emailed to every 8th grade student in Dare County so that they have it quick at their fingertips if they want to apply. Next Wednesday night, we are hosting an open house where you have an opportunity to get a tour of our facility and ask any questions and visit some booths manned by our students to get an idea of the different extracurricular activities that we have to offer. After that window closes, Miss Fallon, I, and a small team will be going to each middle school to conduct candidate interviews. And we'll be providing sample questions to students so that they're able to prepare and that they feel confident. We understand this might be their very first interview ever, and we don't want it to be a scary experience. We want it to be empowering and then be able to brag on themselves about all that they are dreaming about and have to offer for our school. Acceptance notifications will go out on April 2nd, and then commitment day is April 16th. So I want to mention here, if any student is even remotely considering attending Dare Early College, I would encourage them to go ahead and apply. And if for some reason they decide in April that this isn't a fit for them, they can always decline even after they've been accepted up until April 16th. But we won't be taking applications past March 2nd. So if they are even considering it, I encourage students to apply.
And so, again, we send out those notifications, and you're really going to see three things there. A student will be accepted and invited to attend. A student might be placed on a wait list. And then some students will be denied admittance. Um, and again, everyone will be notified, and I think those notifications are going to go out via email this year. And we had a little bit of trouble last year with the U.S. Postal Service, but we might do a two-pronged approach this year with that. So, but again, students have until April 16th to make that final commitment, and it is a full 1 year commitment.
There are several factors that really lead students to be successful at Dare Early College, and I want students to understand what it is they're committing to. Um, it's really important that students demonstrate consistent attendance. While all schools would love for this to happen, of course, we always want our students to be present. We're finding that it's especially important because we not only utilize the Dare County Schools attendance policy, but once students embark on those college courses, their attendance is subject to COA's attendance rules. And the standard for that is that they can miss 10% of their college classes. So in some cases, that's only 4 sessions. So it's important that students understand that they will be expected to attend as often as possible. Students need to understand that it's important to work hard, and we will always help students stay on top of their assignments. But associate's degrees don't just happen. Students have to be willing to put in the work. And from what we're hearing from COA, for every credit hour of a college course, a student needs to be prepared for 2 or 3 hours outside of the classroom. So it is a heavy lift, but we believe students can do it, and we're there to be with them every step of the way. Students having future goals, general or specific. Again, as we've mentioned, a student doesn't necessarily have to know what they want to do after high school graduation, and they can always change their mind. But the point is that they're ready to roll. They want to go in the right direction. And then students being open-minded and on board when attempting new strategies. One of the biggest indicators of success at Dare Early College is that a student has a growth mindset, that they're willing to accept feedback, that they're willing to take risks and learn from errors. And we always welcome mistakes. We see them as opportunities for growth, but we have to have students who are willing to take those risks. Fun fact about the application process, we do not check students' grades through all of the recruitment or application process. I will only check grades after a student has committed to Dare Early College, and my reason for that would be to plan over the summer what supports we need to have in place to help them get the most out of our school and really be their best selves. When applying, your student will need to know that it is an online application. There is a parent portion that's available on the Dare County Schools website that a parent will need to complete as well by March 2nd. On the application, your student will need to identify 3 recommenders. 2 of those need to be 8th grade teachers, and we will send out recommendation forms to the people that your student lists. There is a student interview process where we come to the school. Students will have access to the questions ahead of time, and we want to get to know students. Our goal for that time together is to really understand why the student wants to attend Dare Early College and make sure it's something that they want and not necessarily that it's something a parent's pushing them into. We have to know that a student really, really wants this for themselves and is willing to put in the work. And then once we have the application, the recommendations, and the interview, our team evaluates all of that information according to a predetermined rubric. I know that we've taken a few questions throughout our presentation, but if you have any more, we would love to address them at this time. I know it's a lot of info.
And while we're doing that, Cassie, I just wanted to mention, I think last year's recording is there as well.
Yep.
So we're going to leave that posted along with the one from tonight. So if there's, something maybe we missed, it might be in last year's. But it's a
Absolutely.
really exciting journey as we build this, college going culture and this high school experience for students.
Absolutely.
Right,
Great, great question. If a child has an IEP with testing, can that
oh yes.
be done also? Absolutely. IEPs are welcome, or even 504 plans are welcome at Dare Early College, and we do work with those accommodations and do everything that is necessary and called for on those plans. So yes, great question.
Actually, that's a great question. I failed to mention that in the demographic piece, because sometimes students with IEPs or 504 plans fall into that at-risk category because there's something that puts them at risk of not being successful in the traditional high school environment. So, yes, that part again, we're a traditional high school, so we're going to provide those. We have those same standards to meet, and we will have teachers uh, in place there to provide those services as needed as well. Great question. For our folks that are here that are not in traditional schools right now in Dare County, again, you can access the application and the parent portion and all of that on the Dare Early College website. And the interviews will be set up at those schools, so you may be scheduled to come to one of those sites for the interview as well.
Are there any other questions? Well, if you leave here and think of something, please note my email address, mountka@daretolearn.org. I welcome any correspondence from families. Again, I invite you to attend our open house on Wednesday night. We'll be excited to greet you and for you to see what's happening in the Mariner community.
And Miss Mount, I'd be remiss if I did not mention the weather.
Oh,
If
yes,
something happens and we're not able to do our open house, we will definitely reschedule.
100%.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for attending tonight. All I can do is look at my hair and how bad it looks. But anyway, let me just,
You look great, Denise.
again, oh, I'm not sure about that. But anyway, thanks everybody. And I hope you have a great evening. And I encourage you all to attend for the Dare Early College.
Yes. Thank you all. Take care.
Thanks.